Yeah.
The poop
All
sack.
right. We're on the air. We got a ton of people. We are pretty much combining three different shows. We got Piglet from Southern Fried Interviews.
Hello.
There we go. We got this guy who's just kind of there. We got Kevin Broberg, and if we pan somewhere over to the side, we may have an O'Brien.
They're not in my camera range right now,
Okay,
but I'm at their house, so
and then we got this guy.
the O'Brien kitchen.
Okay, there we go. Now, tonight we got a lot to talk about. We are talking to two of the three players of Canadian Heel Turn.
Rochester CCG presents Canadian Heel Turn.
I do or do not advocate the sponsorship of any and all game companies.
Well, you may not advocate the sponsorship, but the sponsorship is the fact of the matter.
Right. You're not advocating the sponsorship. You're just stating our team name.
Yep.
I'm the one with the heel turn sign, okay?
How you
On
doing?
top of that, we were going to meme the crap out of the fact that we still don't have a state of the game.
I
Do they
gave
have
up
a
today.
beating a dead horse meme? Do they have a
Oh
beating
yeah,
a dead
that's
horse
what
meme?
today. Like when I got to today, I'm like, I'm just beating a dead horse. I'm just gonna put how I feel.
Oh, I already put it on Facebook. I put the Ice Bear is not amused.
Well, yeah, you put the experience out abused. I did a few things, and then I got to the point where it's like, I feel like I'm in my doctor's office after being in the waiting room, and it's just like I'm
I like
just,
that.
I'm just waiting very impatiently at this point.
That's a good metaphor.
So what you're telling me is turn and cough for the cure.
I've just gone off and started playing BattleCon.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's another
I got
thing.
into Overwatch beta, so that's what I've been doing.
Yeah, that's another thing we're going to be talking about. Later on the show, where me, Matt, and Jesse are probably going to be announcing we're going to be doing some small changes to Total Justice Gaming. I am announcing on Tuesdays, starting this Tuesday, Total Justice Gaming will be doing streaming. It's a new series called Get Good, where I will be getting back into the fighting game arena with locals from Nashville that are my friends, that are also my UFS community, they're also the local fighting game community, as I struggle to regain my feet in Street Fighter V with Laura, Alex, and Jury whenever the latter two come out. I know Alex is in March. But
Laura's the new Brazilian character,
yeah,
right?
she's
Who's got like the new alternate costume that's literally under boob.
Yes.
It's just literally under. That's all it is.
Yeah. She is Sean Masuda's older sister. Sean is Ken student in Street Fighter 3.
Yep.
We also think on top of whatever she does, Blanca may taught her some things because her
She got
ultra
electrocuted.
Blanca Bowl and she's got electricity.
Yep.
So, first off, we will talk to Kevin and Piglet. Congrats on your Worlds win. Very impressive all the way through the night.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
So let's talk about one thing first. Let's talk about the decks you guys played, and I'll do a quick rundown of that. First of all, Kevin, you played the cancer that is the Forester Athena that you have pretty much brought to the forefront of UFS community.
But they're not banning it, so it's okay.
Yep.
I played the most exciting dynamic deck I've perhaps ever played, and I played Slice Kicks. It's a really fun deck.
I don't know. I think the deck you won your Canadian Nationals title with, that Lee Main deck was. I think we lost Kevin.
Piglet,
Lost to Kevin.
while
Yeah.
we're waiting for him to come back, let's talk about your awesome Clark deck. Fire Clark.
Fire Order Clark.
Fire. Ooh. Did not realize.
Yeah. I actually dual symboled. This is the this is sort of more of the first true dual symbol I did. I'm 2 for 2 in winning cardboard with dual symboling my Hugo deck. It was an Earth deck that splashed all for Body of Souls, so I could loop Sardines Beach Special. So this was a fire deck that splashed for Into the Sunset, Hanya, and Train by the Streets. Hanya and Train by the Streets sort of do the same thing, where you basically make your opponent's progressive difficulty get more difficult. And Into the Sunset is just insanely good. I mean, when you go to Desperation at 16 life, and I mean, when you can just selectively commit your opponent's entire board with Into the Sunset and Clark, it was a really nasty control deck. I mean, it really was. It was very, very slow. Most of the time, I didn't even attack before turn 4. Maybe if I drew 2 attacks, I might throw 1 on 3, but it was very, very slow. MVP cards of the deck, Hanya definitely being one of the big MVPs. There were even times where like people would Saw Blades my Hanya instead of my Clark because they feared the Hanya more. They felt like that was more difficult to play against. Key Techniques is absolutely insane with Clark. At Gen Con, I tested just 1, and then I figured out how good it was. Then I was playing 3. Then the day before, I tested a lot against Ever Hopeful decks, and having 2 Key Techniques is really good against Ever Hopeful because if they Ever Hopeful you, they have to target your Key Techniques first, sort of. And if you have 2 in play, it helps you filter your hand, basically, because you don't want your same foundations in your hand, so you just pitch them out with Key Techniques. Malicious Heart was something that I didn't play at Gen Con. It is basically play attack enhanced with Clark, enhanced to draw a card. It can also negate Templar, and it can also negate Dimitri's form, which is pretty good. Accomplished Grappler put in a ton of work. I'm really, really high on this card. There are games when Accomplished Grappler feels like Torn Hero level good stun defense. So I was not disappointed, and probably, in my opinion, the absolute best card in the deck is the Land of Makai. This card really separates the Fire deck, or an Order deck if you want to build it, from my good deck that I played. Going into late game and having a form commit answer to, any foundations in your opponent's staging area, it was just nuts. I mean, I would get 2 in play, and I played against Void decks, and I was just like, I'll tap all 3 of your perfect accuracies and stuff like that. So they also set up for really, really big Ultra Clark Buster plays. But
yeah,
I remember against
always been one of my favorite effects.
Also, I want to note your deck's gigantic for a 5-hand sizer.
Yeah, I'm actually so, and everyone talks with Garrett and stuff like that, but basically, a big, like Garrett has a really good point. Like when you play slow decks, it's really okay to play a large deck. A lot of my decks, my key number lately in decks has actually been 75 cards. Like, I try to get a deck to 75. If I can cut it to less than that, then that's great. I don't usually go more than that. But if my deck's 75 cards and I'm like, I don't know if I want to cut anything, I'll just go with 75 cards. I mean, there are plenty of times, especially playing a 5-hander, where your opponent will mill before you do. And sometimes when you're playing Clark, you have to play that sort of gameplay if they have, if they have some great defense like you do as well. So, yeah, the large deck really helps with that, and you make a lot of control checks in Clark as well. So
Yeah, he's got a character.
I felt like it was fine.
Yeah, like even though he's a 5-hand size, he's the character that you make multiple checks per turn. Like you could make more than Garrett the character did every single turn.
Right.
Fucking
Yeah, every time you take damage, you lose 2 cards from your deck because you draw 1 and check 1. And a lot of the time, I use a key techniques as well. So a lot of the times, I'm making a check, drawing a card, key techniques, and then I'll draw into a full new hand in the next turn. So I mean, my deck flows. It flows fast.
So I have a question from comments that Kevin's told me since he's gotten back. With how slow your deck is, how many games did they actually let you finish? Because it sounds like they kind of savaged people and then just made you get up.
I will be honest, and this was this was something that I was really excited about. When I played Clark at Gen Con with Birch and Keenan, a lot of the time my deck was so slow, and Keenan and Birch's decks weren't that fast, so we would get draws, and we made it in on 8th place. Like, we barely scraped in. But
when you go to top 8 that's untimed, that's where your deck shine.
My deck, let's see.
I learned that very easily.
Yeah, my Clark deck, like any rendition of it, the only untimed round that I've ever lost is to Garrett's championship Garrett Brett deck. Mm-hmm. It is the only untimed match I've lost. I didn't get to finish against Drew, didn't get to finish against Daniel, and so those guys, they were pretty much 1-1s. But, I mean, it hasn't lost except to that championship deck, which most of it rotated because of champion cards. But when I get into untimed rounds, I'm very confident with it. Sorry, what was your question again, Matt? I was about to answer it. But okay. You were talking about if Broberg and them finished. Yeah, Broberg and Devin were playing very aggressively. Like, Devin plays Psyche, so he's like, either you're gonna die or I'm gonna die quick. He's gonna make it happen that way. And Kevin is just a luck sack, and just his deck rips the nuts, and then he just blows people out of the water. But what was crazy, the craziest thing was when we were playing finals, I'm sitting here on game 1 against Bryce, and Devin gets up in 10 minutes, and he's like, "All right, good luck, guys." And I was like, "What happened?" Because I don't even know if I played an attack yet. And he's like, I took it. I took it 2-0, and I was like, "What?" I was like, I mean, okay, Broberg, I guess one of us just needs to win. He just, I don't know what he did to Brandon Jones, but it was quick. So, yeah, that was impressive. Yeah, and so the guys were playing real aggressive, and I was playing very slow. So they really put in the work and got the job done in Swiss, and then they still were carrying pretty hard in top cut rounds as well. But I didn't lose in top cut rounds, so that was good too.
I remember the end of the finals. I'm just about to wrap it up against Brett Hillman's Kim deck, and I've got him Hanya, I've got all this stuff going on. I'm about to backswing him, and so I start playing my turn actually about to force. I'm and then you just get up and you just what happened thing that you won, crap, I don't get a finish now. That's the only match I didn't finish first.
Yeah, so it was a lot of fun. My Clark deck was sort of, I don't want to sound cocky or anything, but it was part of our team strategy. My Clark deck was kind of the key to our team. We usually paired me off first, or the opponents paired me off first. So people thought that they had a good Clark matchup, or we knew that I had a good matchup, against certain 7-handers, or mainly against Kims. My deck was sort of built as a Kim beater. Because it was you can ask Daniel Hughes, there was nothing he could do, and he played it perfectly. He just couldn't do anything. When you Hanya them and use Clark every single time, and order Schirmheider and one in their pool, they play every kick on a 7, and then you key techniques and take the damage and then tap their board, and then he sideboarded in his Quan Chi Nims. and then like he got 2 in play, and then he played the second one and passed turn, and then I ripped into my second Unwavering Resolve in the next turn. So I got double negation for his double counter.
Wow.
So in that, and I know Matt was asking, I rewatched. That was the big reason I picked Fire. My Fire order deck is much better than my good deck. My good deck has really cool gimmicks, and I wanted to try it and kind of see how good it did. But having Celestial Being and Landa Makai just sets that deck apart from, I think, from any other symbol you could build Clark off of, to be honest. So
Nice.
Okay. Do we want to let Kevin take his turn back, or do we got other questions for him?
Well, let's let Kevin.
I'll say I agree with what Piglet said, that I think both Devin and my deck were both, we were very aggressive, and I think that we were, just as a byproduct of that, a lot of our matchups would tend toward being 50-50s. Like, I think Devin went like 1-1 against Kim's. I know he lost one match to Kim in the semifinals, or maybe it was the quarterfinals at one point. And I played Kim once or twice, and I think I beat him both times. And I felt pretty good about it. I didn't feel incredible about it. I felt like I could get blown up. I had a chance to lose on like Piglet, and that was. So I definitely agree with that. For our team, we had 2 very aggressive, very powerful decks that we thought could catch people off guard and be good choices, but that Piglet's deck, the Clark deck, would have a lot of really lopsided matchups.
Mm-hmm.
And we also people trying to take advantage of it the other way too.
a lot of people also, and like especially in Swiss rounds, and a lot of people just didn't know how to pair our team. Like Kevin's Athena deck was kind of like undiscovered, and nobody knows what Psyche does, like, period. Even if you were to pair against a Psyche right now, looking at Devin's deck list, you still wouldn't know what the deck did. And then it was like people know what my Clark deck does, but no one wants to play against Clark. So, except Bryce. Bryce will always take the Clark matchup. Respect for Bryce. But
I'm good. If you want a quick rundown on what the Psyche deck does, it's perhaps one of the most aggressive decks, I think, in the format, and it kind of a slightly different tack on a lot of the other ones. It's really a resource denial deck more than anything else. It's about going in and using its ability to really let you fuel Hyper Bombs, always be at lower left for Hyper Bomb to destroy a Foundation. Use the ability to fuel Shell Kick, which is a card that's almost no one else gets to play except for Psyche because they don't get the momentum like him. But that's, you pay a momentum to destroy one of your opponent's foundations and also get a foundation for yourself while playing this 7 damage move, potentially, with Psyche. And then, on top of all that, you have the Ryujin Kyaku Navos plan, where you just deal an incredible amount of damage while also taking advantage of the resource advantage you're pushing ahead with. And so, he also, one of the really cute tricks in there, too, is that he gets to play this card, Hornbrook, which, if you ever block an attack while it's in play, whoever played the enhance on it, it's either player may play it, so whoever plays it first gets a momentum after the attack is blocked, and also gets +1 damage.
it makes Psyche like better Felicia, basically. Because
Yeah.
it goes into his momentum immediately. So if he has it in play, all his attacks go to momentum.
Yeah, so not only does he get a ton of free momentum with that, then he spends it on Power Split, which untaps itself for momentum and makes your opponent stun 1, and then all these momentum costs trigger Brash and Aggressive to give his attacks +1 speed, +1 damage for every momentum he discards for every copy of that card.
Yeah, I played against that card. Oh god. Okay. Now I understand this deck. Oh.
So yeah, it's a really interesting interlocking package of resource denial and aggression and speed and damage, and it's pretty crazy. And it's very fast and very powerful. But that's kind of what he was playing. It's really, if you play against a 7-hand size aggro mirror, it is an incredibly tight game because every life point matters on both sides.
Wow. Alright, that deck's scary. But
Yes.
we should just talk about your Athena deck a little bit, because you got cut off before.
I think he's eating cake. It looks like cake.
No eating on this show.
So, the real quick rundown in Estus Athena is the deck only plays 17 foundations, which allows it to take certain liberties with its other card types. So, the core of the deck are 3 cards that it plays 4 of each, which are Forester, Tamayose, and Superior Technique. And all these cards really break the fundamental rules of UFS, where your cards have to go to your card pool before you can use them to pass control checks. So Superior Technique is a 4 difficulty action that discards an attack from your card pool, draws you 2 cards, and then discards itself from your card pool. So if you pass a 5 check, you get to just cycle an attack out of your pool and never grants progressive difficulty. Tamayose says that if you have 2 assets, you get the top 2 cards of your deck to your staging on face down, and it removes itself from the game. And that's very powerful once you have the 2 assets to pay for it, but it's even more powerful when you add in Forester, which lets you destroy any face down in your staging area. And if it's not a foundation, if it's actually an asset, action, attack underneath, then you get to add a card from your hand to your staging area face down, ready, and then draw a card. So if you have 2 Foresters in play and your hand is all non-foundation cards, you're basically just straight up Skullman that untaps 2 foundations every attack. And then all these other cards let you keep cycling cards and playing attacks, and you can have some profoundly broken kill turns where you just deal 40, 50 damage at an absurdly early point in the game with the right cards.
Yeah, he just keeps playing attacks until he doesn't draw anymore.
What would you say is, of those 3 cards, which one do you think is the most abusable / most powerful of the deck?
I would say, me personally, I would say, I don't know. It's hard, but
yeah, I'd probably give it to the
I would say personally, Tamayose, because you don't really get a very active DeForester without getting Tamayoses, and this card pluses you hard when you're going in on aggro turns. But then again, too, Kevin will tell you his nasty kill turns don't happen unless he has a superior technique usually. He still kills you, but the degenerate kill turns usually come with
you can get a turn 2 kill if you have 2 or more of the form action cards of Tamayose and Superior Technique together.
I need to ask, because I'm getting asked by one of my guys on Facebook, what happens when you go up against a deck that actually has a lot of anti-draw?
It can slow it down.
You have to play the game, basically.
Yep.
Okay.
I've played against the deck enough that I can tell you, one of the big cards that will slow that thing down is Weight of Memories.
Yep, Weight of Memory is really good.
For something that everybody's playing right now, obviously, because it's just repetitive usage. You save it till they start doing stuff on their turn. You're just no. They get 1 cycle and that's it.
Yeah, I think that's probably among the best cards against exactly the card DeForester, because until you're going kind of deep into a kill turn and playing a lot of stun and a lot of speed bumps and stuff, it's actually relatively easy to block things, and so getting to draw a card defensively is a pretty big deal. When people used Weight of Memory against me, I was like, okay, well, I guess I have to stop attacking now because they're just going to block. I think that...
the good thing about our team, though, I don't mean to interrupt you, Kevin, is if we know someone's packing red-handeds or something for Kevin, I can pair into that deck. My only draw power not on my character card is Malicious Heart. And if you flip your caught red-handed for my 1 commit, then, that's hella worth it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and actually, our team, there was kind of an unintentional, positive aspect of our team composition, the way it worked out, was that my deck was the only one that actually had targets for caught red-handed. Devin's deck didn't almost at all. You can stop the draw on Hybrid Bomb, I think, was it for Devin.
Yeah, which I think crazily Kevin did really well against Dimitri's, but we paired Kevin into Dimitri sometimes too.
I wanted to find out how that match went.
Yeah, I'll admit I kind of I kind of dodged Dimitri in this tournament. I played the matchup some with Keenan. It's very slow and grindy. I have beaten Keenan 2-1 in the matchup before, but him being able to flip my best pieces is kind of tough. I mean, you know, when you're a control deck and all your weight is in your foundations, which is, I mean, sort of my play style as a player. Like, I put a lot of weight in my foundations, usually more than my attacks, because I just play grimy throw decks. But I usually put more weight in my foundation, so playing against a character like Dimitri is pretty tough. So.
Excuse me, sorry. Other questions from you guys?
No.
What's your opinion? What's your guys' opinions of Worlds as a whole this year? Let's just run it down.
Kevin, you want to go first, or do you want me to?
You can go first.
I thought Worlds was awesome. I loved the venue. I know some people were saying they missed South Point, but I loved the Planet Hollywood. I stayed there. I gambled there a lot. It was a super fun environment, and honestly, like, compared to other tournaments, I think this was the best prize support of any tournament I've been to in a while. It was a free tournament, and they just gave everyone a playmat that signed up. Like, everyone, I don't know, I don't even think people have shared that playmat that much, because everyone, but it's a playmat, and the art on it is, Shane told me, it's what Alice's new ultra rare attack is going to look like. So everyone got that mat for entering. Everyone got promos of, you know, like Summer Heats and all that stuff, champ card promos. They also included the Mega Man stuff that they printed through drive-through. Everyone just got that stuff. And I think everyone got a throw it down too in rounds, didn't they, Kevin? Or was that only for top cuts?
Everyone in rounds got one.
Okay, so everyone in rounds got a throw it down. Then everyone in top cuts got another throw it down. Then in top 4 you got another throw it down. Then in finals you got another. So like us that went through the whole event, we got 5 throw it downs. So it was, they really, like, I think Jason did a really good job of, you know, here are great participation prizes, and then, like, if you went all the way like we did, we all got, like, play sets and more of throw it downs, and all got, I think, 10 packs or a quarter box or something, like, I don't know, 10, 12 packs, you know, each, and stuff like that. And then the play mats, and I really liked the plaques. That's something that I think is really, really cool. That's something I'm definitely going to keep and probably put on my wall. So honestly, I thought, especially for a free tournament, best prize support in a while. And everyone was really, really hyped about the Mega Man cards. I think everyone still is. Being able to see it, I think the Mega Man cards should be done more often, because if anything like that, that really made people come together as the UFS community a lot more. And people don't think about this, but, like, you know, I might not say a word to the guy next to me, you know, the whole tournament, but hey, he just got this cool card that I've never seen. Hey, my name's Piglet. Can I see what card you got? Here's the one I got. You know, it creates conversation, camaraderie. So I thought that was really, really awesome. Probably the best prize in the tournament. And we also, just like I said, for topping, we also got extra Mega Man packs for every round of top cuts. So
that was a really awesome way, I think, for them to do spoilers. That should be a great way for them to keep doing that. That was definitely, for someone who wasn't even there, that was definitely the most hype thing.
Yep.
I'll let Kevin say what he needs to say. I like to ramble.
Yes. I'm really glad you went first, because I forgot like 2/3 of that stuff, because I was just all wrapped in my own head about being so excited about the unbelievable record I put up in singles and in teams. It was a great weekend for me. I had a ton of, I mean, my deck was incredibly fun to play, and also I won a lot with it, so that was really great. I thought the venue was wonderful, having the biggest turnout in modern UFS history. It's just completely incredible. We had 113 or 114 players. Can't remember how that number actually turned out. You know, rows and rows of tables. You know, passersby saying, "Hey, what is this game?" how do you have so many people here? I thought it was really incredible, and I really like. I kind of see where people are coming from on missing the South Point, but I thought it was really great playing at the Planet Hollywood and like playing during the playoffs for NFL because you could just like the courts being played a couple times during the weekend. That was really awesome.
It sounded like the NFL stadium. I don't know if you guys are into football, but the Arizona Green Bay game, the spread on that game was 0.5 point, and it was in overtime, and we were right above the sports bar.
Oh,
and
jeez.
when they threw that Hail Mary, it sounded like the NFL. It sounded like an NFL stadium, and the floor literally shook underneath us. They were right above us. There was so much yelling and screaming. It was
Wow.
great. Oh yeah, that was a story that I tell a lot of people since I've been back.
So
Sucks when I get there. All I'm gonna be able to bet on is baseball.
Ooh,
Ugh.
not so much cheering for that one.
No.
Well, it's America's #1 pastime.
That's my opinion to it. But that's big.
Before the weekend for Vegas, I wasn't sure if I was going to join Sean for the 2K, but after going out there and I went out I think on Tuesday afternoon, and so I hung out with a bunch of the Vegas guys. I went to one of their game stores and played in a quick 3-round tournament on Tuesday, Wednesday night. And I was talking with Vegas locals all through the tournament, and after the weekend, I'm 200% going back. If somehow my flight gets canceled, I have to buy a new ticket the weekend before, whatever. I'll take it.
Yeah, the Vegas play group is really, really cool, and I thought that they were going to be like super overhyped and not that good, like other play groups are, because Shane was talking them up. But honestly, they're really good players. They put 2 teams in the top 4, and we had to beat 2 of their teams back to back in the top 4 to beat them. And I mean, they have some great players. I mean, they really do.
Mm-hmm.
So I was impressed with them.
Alrighty. Do we have anything else before we move on to the next issue?
I just wanted to make one comment, a little piece of UFS advice, and I'm just going to say this in case people didn't watch my Worlds review, but the biggest thing I'll take away from this tournament in playing with Kevin and Devin, which made it really fun, was putting trust in your teammates. Like a bunch of us, like the 3 of us were just like, hey guys, we're just going to play whatever we think is fun and just enjoy the tournament. And a big thing too is never underestimate deck experience when you're playing in teams. I'll say it right now, I'm the best Clark player in the world. I know the character better than anyone else. Kevin innovated a deck that people want banned now, and Devin is by far the best Psyche player in the world. And we were so comfortable with our decks. We were so comfortable with our decks. It was just like we knew the matchups so well, and that's so powerful in teams. And that's one thing a major teams champion, Jeremy Ray, will say. Teams is all about knowing the matchups. So if you know your deck super well, that goes really far in teams. We didn't plan on winning this event. We just wanted to have fun playing characters we loved. And like on the back of experience and matchup knowledge, we won. Like, we didn't play the most broken decks in the format. I mean, people argue that Kevin's is, but like Clark and Psyche are not the best decks in the format. They're maybe A tier or B tier, but they're not S tier.
Competitive, but yeah, they're not the.
Yeah, I mean, they're competitive, but they're not Ban Ken. They're not Ban Athena. They're not Dimitri's broken. It's Clark and Psyche. They didn't know how to pair. So that was cool. I think we had a little bit of surprise factor too, which goes a long way. So just wanted to say that.
Absolutely true with the Psyche thing. I would just, if I come across that, I would be like, pair gets giggles against it. Let's just hope it works.
Is this human Psyche or is this monster Psyche we keep talking about?
That's
Human. Okay.
I think Monster Psyche might have rotated out, actually.
Yeah,
It did. It was a promo.
All right.
Rest in peace, Karate.
Oh.
Gosh. So
I'm taking down. I'm playing. I planned if there is an extended Worlds this coming year, I will be bringing Mr. Karate there and shutting some and launching gigantic shield rams at people's faces.
Yes.
Ah. Ooh.
So moving on to our next topic of discussion. We're still 4 days out. We haven't had state of the game. A lot of us are kind of getting miffed, to say the least.
Okay, I'm gonna ask everyone's opinion here.
Yeah, we'll
Would
just
you
turn it over
rather
to Jesse. I
have
said my
had-
last
I'll
week.
take this one. I'll take this one, Joe, because it's kind of like I'll ask everybody's opinion. Would you have rather they had just not done anything, or do you feel more annoyed because there is the placeholder?
Placeholder
I'll take
bothers
the
me.
placeholder every day of the week.
Hmm.
I'll take the placeholder every day of the week. I'll say, they're letting us know that, hey, they're actually like they remember that the forums exist, that they need to talk to us, and that they aren't banning anything. I mean, for me personally, the ban no bans took a weight off my shoulders. I was worried that people were going to get the negative voices about Athena were going to drown out Reason.
I think that the line about there will be no bans there is what bothers me the most. Like, I don't want to just know if there's bans or not. I want to know reasoning on why things were or were not banned when there's a bunch of hot button subjects.
I think the placeholder is good. Jason has a lot of strengths as a businessman, as he has weaknesses. But I think PR is something that he's really strong about. Not many company CEOs that are especially busy would come on shows like this. So I think him making a point to acknowledge that, hey guys, I see that you're here, and I'm going to get to this as soon as possible, I think is good PR by him. Because I feel like people would have been way more nervous or way more freaked out if everyone is saying, guys, where's the state of the game? Where's the state of the game? Where's the state of the game? And for 2 weeks, just nothing is said. Not a peep.
We're saying that because it had been 2 weeks.
Well, right, but I mean, I think people would really be panicking if they, if there was nothing. One thing I do want to say, and I understand, and maybe Jason and Shane are watching now. Maybe they won't see this, but I want to say, Jasco Games. I know you guys are busy with Universal Tactics. I know you're busy with Mega Man, the board game, but don't forget the UFS community on the way. UFS is your, it's your name brand, and I mean, I'm not trying to be arrogant or anything, but if it wasn't for UFS and the UFS community, there would be no Mega Man the board game. There would be no Universal Tactics. It all UFS had to go on strong before this could happen 5 years down the road. So just remember that, guys. Remember that, and I'm sure they do understand that. And I know that these other games are important to them and important to the success of Jasco Games, but just in case you guys weren't thinking that.
No, I mean, we really are. I mean, the biggest issue, fear that I have is that when this State of the Game comes out, I honestly I really don't care if they give us a release date for Mega Man or not. I've hit what I've explained to Matt and Jesse as the Buddha zone, where they will just tell me anything, and I'll just be, that's cool. I've hit that apathy level of Cat, where they'll say it's like, Endings comes out in 2 weeks, Mega Man has X date, this has X date. This has just been the blackout, and again, we understand they're busy, and I said this last week. Here on the show, we will always call a spade a spade. If they do good, we will sing their praises to high heaven. They've been doing what they've been doing as of late with media blackouts and just not saying, hey, here's why this isn't coming out or something else. We're going to call them on it. But I am so burned out and bummed out because it really does seem like everything that they're doing as late is taking precedence over the game that's helped make the company. And, well, I know that's probably not the case at all. Shane God, I don't know how many trips that man has probably made to UPS in a single day to ship. But I am very, very fearful that half the state of the game is going to be Kickstarter information that we don't care about.
Sure. I don't think anyone's saying that the Jasco employees don't work hard at all.
Yeah.
I just think that, I just think people are, I think the anger for the state of the game, or if you want to call it anger, is just hype for UFS. We had the biggest, UFS event in Jasco history, and everyone's really hype about it, and we want to keep the hype going. We want people to jump on the UFS train.
Yeah.
Hop off your Vanguard and Force of Will train and come jump on our UFS train. We're the biggest we've ever been. And I think the success that we just recently had is making people passionate about it.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. But at the same time, the last day of the game, they swore to God up and down we're getting 6 sets this year. And while that is still doable within the realm of possibility, we are slowly closing out.
I want to close I want to change that. Everybody keeps saying that it's sets, it's releases. There is differences because they have definitely, that includes separate product designs and such. It's not just booster boxes being released. Like, these are, to my understanding, smaller sets being released.
Okay.
Right. And I'll say it right now.
Doesn't mean they put out.
The one thing I'm going to say is we haven't had anything out since July. And while the game always seems to have bring a new turn, they brought Red Horizon back. It just, I like new stuff more. Like, I'm happy you brought some stuff back, but I like my new stuff more.
And, I'll let the UFS community know, if I get flack for this, whatever. But from my understanding, Jason wants to try and print multiple sets at one time again, so he has Red Horizon and Mega Man finished. So most likely, what I think the state of the game is going to be is they are going to delay the Mega Man set until a little bit before Gen Con, so they can print Red Horizon and Mega Man out at the same time. And then basically, hate to burst your bubble, guys, but that will be their UFS releases for the year, printed and ready to go. Endine's released as soon as they can, then they'll release Mega Man and Red Horizon for 2.5 sets in the year.
And this is a 36 card set.
Guys,
just saying.
say hi, Dave.
But,
Everybody just say hi, Dave.
hi,
Hello.
Dave.
Hi, Dave.
Anyway,
Okay, continue.
I'm just gonna say, like, Indians is a 30. It's my understanding is like a 36 card set, and it's a cross promotion between it with them and another company, and the other company put their artists to do all the art for it.
Artist. One single
Artist.
artist did all the
Artists,
art.
yes, artists did all the cards for it, and I would love to just see a small release like that between now and I would like to see that out before another booster set, just because it's a small thing. It's something to put into the game and infuse.
But
Like, it's not the.
oh, sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, Jesse.
Oh no, your problem. That's your more. This is a perfect spot for you to jump in.
But guys, look at positive. UFS is growing. Biggest UFS event lately. Last year, we had Mega Man and Darkstalkers only released. This year, we're going to, in my opinion, this is what I think is going to happen. I don't know anything.
Yeah.
They're going to release Mega Man and Red Horizon and Endines. So we went from 2 sets, just 2 sets, and a small set with a crossover, right?
Okay.
And they also did release the Mega Man board game and stuff like that. I don't know anything about the Universal Tactics. I'm sure we'll hear about that soon. So we're up from 2 sets to 2 and we'll say a half set. So 2.5 sets. So maybe next year we get to, Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, and Cowboy Bebop all in 1 year. Like, that'd be awesome.
They are actually contractually obligated to get those 2 sets out this year.
Yeah.
No, they always said no. It's only to our understanding.
Street Fighter is the main one.
Street Fighter has to be out this year, to my
Yeah, Street Fighter has to be out this year.
But obviously, Jason had a meeting. Here's the one thing: Jason had a meeting with Capcom. He actually said it. He was very vocal about it. They have a Capcom meeting this past Monday. Things could have changed.
Very true.
Maybe they gave him the time he needs, and that's if they did. Thank you, Capcom.
Yeah, and I will say, and I will say on the record here, I don't, I don't know any of this stuff set in stone, but based off of previous Jasco years, I have a good relationship and talk with Jason and Shane a fair amount. Haven't been able to lately, because they're so busy, but just based off what's happened in the past, that is my guess, basically, for how this year will come out. Maybe I'm right. Maybe I'm not, and if my guess is right, I'm happy with that personally. One thing I like about UFS is that there are not that many releases because it saves me a lot of money. And the game is such a small player base. Like, Kevin's been playing this deck for 9 months, and now people want it banned. Like, so much stuff is undiscovered. So,
I don't know. I look at it from I as being friends with Sean O'Brien for several years and seeing him put pretty much the singles market of UFS back together again, and he's one of those and other stores have finally popped up to want to do singles and sales of the product online. Nothing new coming out for this long. It can stifle the game a little bit for players, and there's things that people can't get to right now. Like I will trust me. I have giant boxes of cards of like starter chaff that I've opened so many starters for different reasons, for ultra rares, all that stuff, and of all these things, I will more than happy if a new player came in that wanted to play in Rochester, I would give you, here's these 3 boxes, take what you want to get them going, and and then you need to get certain things, like get a hold of a certain starter. And there's some starters you can't get a hold of. You have to reach out there in the world to try to find them. Or, maybe you're lucky and you find them at a Barnes & Noble.
And like Sean pointed out the last time, the track record for several releases is spotty at best. Some year we didn't go out with a single set release for what was it, almost a year and a half?
I was back in
Rising to Tide, it was a long time.
Okay.
Long time. Yeah.
Okay. We got a question from Dave Wagner. I think this is actually, it's kind of a 2-parter. I'll run it through. I'll read it off to the group, and we'll get a round table. I think this would be actually a great point of the going forward with UFS. Do you guys think the Vegas turnout was due to the game growing, or due to the fact it was held near the hub of Jasco operations? Where, to be fair, the game has been in a giant uptick thanks to the great work of Shane Duckworth.
Mm-hmm.
And second question, what is your estimates for the Gen Con turnout this year? If there is a singles tournament that is let's say this, if it's let's say hypothetical, U.S. Nationals is at Gen Con this year for singles, what do you think the turnout number will be?
Probably not high. Honestly, I'll go first.
Okay.
I think the first question is actually a combination of all 3.
Okay.
I think, 1, Worlds was held in Vegas. Vegas is always a great place to go. I'll never get to go. That's why I was very against them swapping, because the higher attendance will always go to the World event over the national event. I think it drew a lot of people because it is close to Jasco HQ, and I think it's also because the game grew. I do not expect a high turnout. In fact, most of us were talking about how we probably may not even go to Gen Con this year because Gen Con's prices rose a little bit.
Yeah, even I'm not going at this point, and I've been the one that's still been saying, no, I want to go to this. I prefer it over Vegas, but it's sounding more and more ridiculous every time.
Exponential, the exponential pay increase on Gen Con this year is just
they didn't pick a venue.
I will advise that the $120 badge people were confused by. It's a $90 for the 4-day badge pre-order. It's $90. If you have to buy a 4-day badge, though, after the pre-order date, it is 120. That's what's going on.
Hey,
That's
Jesse, can you repeat Wag's question again?
Sure. It's mainly the turnout with Vegas. Was the turnout in Vegas so big due to the game growth, or due to the fact because it's a hub point for Jasco Games? It's been a what do you? It's like that's the first part, kind of. Did the game grow? Did a lot of people come in for that to play UFS? Or was it kind of sandbagged a little bit because it's a hub point and Shane's been pumping that group, full of players for over a year?
All right, I would say, I guess my answer is both, because it being a hub point and Shane getting a large Vegas play group is the game growing. The fact of the matter is there are people going. Now, I don't think this is a fluke. I know Brandon travels. I know Bryce and Emerson, and I think Daniel were saying, you're going to see Vegas guys playing in Lubbock this weekend, from what I understand. So you have guys that are traveling. Now, of course, the locals, some guys are interested in traveling, some guys aren't. Some guys are only going to travel to majors. Chris Pratt, he kind of told me that he's going to do the local stuff and then just try and make cardboard events, which is a lot of what I do too. I try to get out to a couple PTCs, but you have some real good traveling. Now, Gen Con wise, the Vegas guys told me, because I asked them, because I brought up the whole conversation of having cardboard events at Gen Con. It's too expensive for those guys to go. It's so expensive. And we've talked about this, but I'll just say, I'm not going to go into any detail because it's like beating a dead horse, but they said Gen Con is too expensive for them to go. But if they did it somewhere else, like I've been advocating, I think they would go.
Yeah.
So I would say the Vegas point is good, and I think we should continue to have Worlds there. And Shane grew the game in Vegas, and they are going to Pro Tours and other events. So yes.
Yeah, I think we had 113 people at Worlds. How much of that was because it's in because the game in general has just been expanding and growing? Some of it, I think at Worlds we had 80, was that right? About 80 at Gen Con last year. 33 more people than Worlds. Yeah, part of that's because the game has been growing in general. I think a lot, but I think we can credit a lot of that being that it's in the same city as where Shane Duckworth runs. If Shane Duckworth has gotten events going, he doesn't even run them anymore necessarily. People say, "Hey, I'm going to be at Alliance tonight." They're going to be at every game stores 5 nights a week plus the weekends. And because that community has grown there, that's why we had 33 more people in the same city as Vegas. Next year at Gen Con, will we see 113 people? I'd be surprised to see 113 people at Gen Con. With all the talk about how it's getting more expensive and people saying, "Oh, I'm not going to go because it's too expensive because I'd rather go to somewhere else," whatever. I'm not sure if we'll see the same 80 people we saw last year. I think Gen Con might shrink again, but next year at Worlds, I think it'll be even bigger than it is this year. Even if we only have 2 sets this year or whatever, that might be disappointing to what we've been hoping for.
I definitely remember saying a few months ago that if we just had a Shane Duckworth clone in every major city, this game would grow a gigantic amount. So I definitely think he was one of the bigger factors, but the game is definitely growing. I think more than we realize. It's just not as many people are willing to travel yet, because there are people that are playing this as their side game, or it's their game they play casually, because it's like, it's got Mega Man in it. So it's trying to get those people to travel.
And when I was talking to the West Coast guys, I'll let you guys know, Jason came into our conversation, and he's not ignorant of this situation. He knows that his numbers probably aren't going to get much bigger at Gen Con, which is why Vegas is the World Championship now to begin with. And when I talked to him, I wasn't who knows what the announcement could be if they're still going to do nationals at Gen Con. But it seems like, for me, if there is a cardboard tournament at Gen Con, Piglet speculation again, but I think it'll be the last one. So.
It's definitely possible.
So he knows. He is not ignorant of the situation at all. He knows.
You kind of still need like an event, large scale event like a Nats or a regionals over in our neck of the woods, though. That's kind of what we need, though. We need one on the west side. We need one on the east side.
Like I think they're gonna figure it out. I think this is gonna be like I wouldn't be surprised if I agree. This is gonna be the last year there's cardboard at Gen Con,
Like,
or
this
it's
makes me-
like I think Gen Con's just gonna turn into like more or less a high end PTC, starting like starting in like 2017, and I hope that Nationals. I think you especially because you've been the big advocate. I hope Atlanta's the first year for our traveling Nationals.
That would be awesome.
Really, all the talk that I keep on hearing more and more about this, it makes me really wonder what the thoughts on the Gen Con community in general is about this. Like, I wonder if other games are having similar talks like this. It's something I kind of want to look into.
I've been on the Gen Con forums, and there's just been a lot of people are definitely stating their case about there are some hotels that submitted prices with the con discounts as just like, this is ridiculous. How can you justify increasing this room even with on the Gen Con, on the page at $80 more a night?
Right.
Where's your justification?
And something else I'll say that I think the UFS community, especially with the hostility for State of the Game, I think people kind of take for granted how, like I just said, I can sit down and have a conversation with Jason and say, hey, Jason, us as a UFS community with, a couple of guys from the Vegas group, we're not happy with this. Can you fix it for us? And he'll at least be like, oh, okay, yeah, I'll look into that. So, like having that communication with Jason, I think people take for granted. Like, there are so many other games where that's just not going to happen. They're just going to continue to have it at Gen Con and not grow. But, they want the game to grow, and I think that is a really big advantage and a really great part of UFS that, Jason is so tight with the community. I mean, he was a part of, still is, but he was just a UFS community player, and he took the game, so.
Yep.
Yeah, so it's definitely so that I'm actually going to spend the time the next week with a couple of people I know I want to talk about and figure out about this. Something I want to come back to, maybe on a future show. Just talk about Gen Con in general.
That was a good question, Wag. Thanks.
Yeah, good question, Wag.
Dave Wagner. Other CCGs have cash prizes, so people can justify the Gen Con expense. True. There's a lot of there's many UFS players who played in teams, and then for singles, they went and played in the Versus event. There was like the 0 hour 10K, or it was like a 10K they ran. I was like,
yeah. Most of the cash events that I see are really for like brand new games. They're trying to get people, like, they offer the 10K prize. It's like, all right, but you have to go buy our new LCG box in order to play in this, and it just came out like the day before we announced this. So they make that 10K back within the first hour of sales. It's a lot of work.
Right. And this is something that Garrett said. UFS isn't the same as other games. If you're in to make money playing card games, UFS isn't the game for you. And anyone that asks me, hey, is there a lot of money? Can you make money in UFS? Nope. Just be honest with you.
As a player in tournaments, no. And like I won't lie, I justified my UFS for a long when UFS was hot, like the pre-Shadow War years.
Yeah, like Addy Syndicate.
It was hot. I was busting boxes. I was using my store discount at the time, busting every box I could get my hands on, and just reselling, just so I could afford to go to events. Like I had to turn into I had people coming up to me at the events and like, do you got this, and this on you? And I'm like, all right, pay for my event and like 4 sales.
Yeah,
I mean, like, I don't like doing that though anymore. I actually hate being a backpack champion.
Yeah, and that is and you know, if you win a champion card, like I sold $20 play sets of Winners Never Quit in Michigan to help pay for my trip to Michigan.
Yep.
So and that was something that I was really grateful for, that the UFS community, you know, would help support me going to that event. You know, so you can make a little bit of money off your champ card, but I mean, you know, it's not, you know, it's not a for-profit, you know, tournament player game.
Mm-hmm.
Yet. Sean O'Brien chimes in saying yet.
Yes.
No, like, well, he ran the first 2K. He's running another 2K here in May. If some sets out online, maybe UFS will be that hot game again, where you can go to it, where people can, maybe not you, Jesse, but some people, enterprising youth, can go to an event and turn over hundreds of dollars in cards and pay for their event. And it's not like you're extorting them for it. It's like they want to pay for this amount of money to get these cards because they're worth it to them. And that's what you get out of, like, that's part of what trading card games are, is that, you know, $50 cards are just part of the way the whole ecosystem works, and that's fine. Yep. That's great.
No, I'm rolling in. I plan to roll into Vegas for the 2K. My objective is to win, and then I am taking half of my prize money, walking over to a blackjack table, or walking over to a roulette table, playing and putting half on red.
You never bet red, Jesse.
I always bet red.
Red is the color of love, and love hurts. It'll hurt you.
You don't understand. I've done some stupid things on roulette before and paid out insanely. I one time bet $100. I one time took my last $100 and put it on a number and won. And I was like,
oh, that's amazing.
That was my drunken idiocy night in Niagara Falls a couple of, like 6 or 7 years ago.
If we're telling gambling stories. If we're telling gambling stories, we went to the Harrah's Casino in New Orleans for the New Orleans Pro Tour, and Keenan and I went up to the roulette table, and we go to bet black on the roulette table. And like, there's like a little bit of casino etiquette. Like, if someone like bets like red or black before you, it's sort of rude to like bet the other color, like, because you want the whole table to win. So like right when we do that, this guy just like takes stacks of chips, like $5 each, and just takes these giant stacks right before the ball drops and just puts them on both the zeros. And by God, if a double zero didn't hit, oh my God! So everyone lost money except him. So I mean, it was cool to see him win that money, but everyone else is like, well. All right, and it was literally like we went up there and bet it, and literally right before the ball dropped, he was just like, "Oh, what the hell," and just put it on the zeros. So.
All right. Well, it is 10 o'clock. We are at the end of the show. Kevin, Piglet, thank you both for joining us. As always, great time talking with you. I hope next week we have a state of the game to talk about. Obviously. But
I believe if things pan out, we'll get to talk about UFS Cube next week.
Ooh.
Hey, nice. You got Nando lined up?
Yeah. He wanted to come on this week, but I'm like, we already got Kevin and Piglet for this
You're
week.
not Hollywood enough, Fernando. Get out of here.
Guys, no, it's all Kevin's fault because he derped. He's supposed to be on last week.
Well,
Super Nando Brothers first.
Yeah, I'm going to shameless plug here. Speaking of Fernando, February the 27th, we will be having another Atlanta stream from Nando's house. There's talk of maybe being some Street Fighter V also, but mainly King of the Hill UFS. You know how we love to play King of the Hill in Atlanta. And I will be playing my Dr. Cossack Trinity Geyser deck. So tune in, boys. Because, see, everyone thinks I'm predictable and I only play throw decks. Oh no, friends. I have kill turns that'll make you think DeForester Athena is fair. Alright? So, that is what's up. Alright, that's all I have to say. So tune in if you want to sing King Cossack. If you want to see the rain begin, tune in on the 27th.
Don't
So-
lie. You're gonna kill people with zings.
Don't worry, I'm gonna beat people in the PTC in March with this guy,
Victor.
Victor.
We also may be changing venue a little bit. We may be expanding and reporting on other games.
That
So-
is true.
Oh yeah, I want to hear the Total Justice news.
Oh yeah.
Run through it. Just run through it real quick, Joe. It's fine.
Pretty much, we want to try and expand, try to get through this dry spell. Also, we just want to try and report on more games than just UFS. I mean, my original goal when I started this was to cover both UFS and Vanguard, and obviously, I've only tossed in Vanguard anytime I've ever done anything any well. We've had such a joy talking to Brad with Level 99. We're probably going to try and see if we can do something with them. God willing, everything works out.
Like I think we're planning to do like a once-a-month show on Level 99. Their products have just caught all of our attention between their BattleCon game. They have some great new products coming. They got some great new products coming out that we can't wait to talk about. Specifically, Millennium Blades, which will be out very soon. Their Exceed
Comes out in March. Exceed comes out in April. They've got BattleCon online, closed beta that will be happening soon.
Yep.
I'm gonna have a sort of review video that I'm gonna do. Yes, Piglet.
Is this going to be on this? Is it going to be on the same time, or are you guys?
Oh
doing
no, it'll
shows
be
on
an
different
alternate
days?
time. It'll be an alternate time that'll be announced ahead of time.
Okay, so it's not you're not replacing the UFS show with other stuff. You're just including more
If
releases in the
there's
week.
a crossover, we might just do like Exceed. The first season of Exceed has Red Horizon, so that might be like an episode where we combine both. And then there's
No, I'm talking about adding content other than UFS onto this show at this time.
On Thursdays.
Yeah.
Okay.
do a mix of both.
Like it's just also we can't. I actually think that while it's fun talking about UFS every week, sometimes it's a stretch to pull content together. Sometimes
Yeah, there's
there'll be
nothing to talk
stretches.
about right
There'll be
now.
stretches where we'll talk about UFS weeks on end because there's stuff to talk about. But other times we want to talk about Level 99. We might actually start. I'm starting to investigate some other companies just to bring some alternative to the game, alternative to this show, and I think it's a great idea for us to start doing. And it's going to be a step forward in just us developing this show to diversify our audience a bit.
I will hopefully have my BattleCon video up tomorrow. I had a lot of stuff recorded, and then I decided I hated it, and I'm restructuring it, and I'm recording something new with Giggles tonight.
The joy of editing.
Yeah. I don't like my voice when it's just me talking, so I turned the review into like a talk show video.
That's actually sometimes the better format to go with. So yeah, we're not stopping UFS entirely. It's just after 2 years, we need to spread out and diversify, and we will still talk about UFS. We'll still have the Let's Build a Dex. We'll still have UFS people on to chit chat. It's just we're needing to move on and grow further as a show.
Sure.
Because my original idea was to encompass more games that me and my original partner Ed played. We were going to be running down Vanguard. We were going to start Buddy Fight because Buddy Fight hadn't launched yet. At that point, we were also going to talk the Power Rangers card game, which we all know that failed spectacularly. But the original plan for this show was to encompass everything we were geeking on that was card game wise. And then Ed had to leave to circumstances. I think it's because I can't even remember. It's been 2 years. He's running his own wrestling show and music production stuff, and I just zeroed in, and it's been UFS nonstop for 2 years. Save for the bits and pieces of Vanguard.
Gonna diversify out a little bit. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, for anyone interested, Southern Pride Interviews, Jasco Games is the only game manufacturer, and UFS is the only game on Earth.
Real talk right there.
You're gonna. Alright. So we'll probably post some other stuff, maybe see what the community wants later on, but for now I think that's it for the night.
And
Yeah.
so as you're playing the one real game, get your cards at rosterccg.com.
Rochester!
And don't forget to tune in Tuesday night. This will be fun.
Okay.
Thanks so much for gaming. This is Roster CCG presents Canadian Heel Turn signing
Oh,
out.
hold on, let me get you guys sued by Disney real quick. Hold on. Star Wars Episode 3. Take it down, Disney. Take him down. All right, there we go.
All right.
So you're gonna get
Showed
sued
the
for all
best
the money you don't have.
At least we do the best of the prequels.
It's my favorite Star Wars movie.
Alright. Night, folks.
But